Hi, welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to be measuring the hotness of a new sauce from Ed Sheeran. This is his, I would say, mild chili sauce. He's marked it sort of 2 out of 4 chili rating, but I'm going to actually measure the Scoville heat unit of it using the Food Sense Generation 4. So I have a Food Sense Generation 4 here. I have the app on my phone. I've measured out some sample, and like I said, I'm going to measure it on this Food Sense Generation 4 now, and we'll find out what the Scoville heat unit of it is. I did have a look at the ingredients, and it sort of describes that has about 16% by mass of jalapeno peppers. Now, jalapeno peppers, I looked it up online, and they have a reputation for being 2,000 to 8,000 Scoville heat units. Now that's the dry weight. If you divide by 10, you would get approximately to the wet weight, which would give you a sort of 200 to 800 Scoville heat units. So if I just sort of say, well, on average, then it's about 500 Scoville heat units. 16% of 500 Scoville heat units is actually 80 Scoville heat units. So that's very, very low. But of course, what they say here is that we've also got a chili extract as well. So at this moment, I have not measured this, let's say, sample, but I'll flick over to this camera and tell you what I'm going to do then. So what I have done is I have measured out a volume of the chili sauce of 0.1 milliliters. This sauce is actually fairly thin and runny, and I was actually able to pipette it. So I've pipetted out 0.1 milliliters, as I say, of the sauce, and I've added in 0.9 milliliters of the buffer. So this is the buffer. We generally, when we add 0.1 mils of the sauce to 0.9 mils of the buffer, we would call that a 1 in 10 dilution. I'm just reaching across actually getting a clean pipette tip because I realize I just put chili sauce over the last pipette tip. With that said, I'm probably in a position now to actually do the testing. One thing I should just mention is that I do have the sample here. As I say, it's a 1 in 10 dilution. You can see it here. I'm just going to do a quick vortex upon it. This kind of vortexer, by the way, really not that expensive. About $50, 50 euros, 50 pounds, depending which exchange rate you're in. So I've quickly vortexed that, so I get a sort of nice, let's say, homogeneous sample. I've got my pipette here. I'm about to put on about 50 microliters onto the sensor. I just want to say that if you, with thicker sauces, I sometimes, rather than doing like 0.1 milliliters, I may actually weigh out 0.1 grams. But this sauce is thin enough that I was actually able to use the pipette in this particular case. With that said, let me grab the sample, which I'm now doing. Let me put it onto the sensor. There we go. All right, and then I realize I haven't brought I'll just bring my phone into shot. So what I'm gonna do is, it's actually gonna connect to the device. I realize I'm not connected to the device. So I'm connected, and I will go to assay. I've done a 1 in 10 dilution, so I'll start the measurement now. So there's a couple of things going on now. You get this kind of progress bar here, and I can also see there's a flashing kind of LED strip here that tells me that the essentially that the assay is running. So that generally takes about 30 seconds. And when that happens, then I'll get the Scoville heat unit on my phone here. And I'll also talk about there being essentially a raw signal, but let's just let that come to, yeah, so there you are. It is quite mild, actually. So I sort of said, it's funny, actually, I said, if we assume that a jalapeno has a dry sort of Scoville heat unit of 5,000, and I said, all right, well, if you assume there for the wet Scoville heat unit rating of that's 500, and I sort of said, about 500, and it's actually come back at 618. So there's either it's because the chilies are slightly hotter than the average, or because also they do put in the ingredients that they add a sort of a few more sort of chili extracts at the end here. So I do get the result on my phone in Scoville heat units. There's the 618. Yep, I read that correctly. And just for, I don't know, intellectual interest, I'm also going to just share my screen again with you, because every time we do a test, it actually sends the data up to the cloud. So I can actually not only see the result up in the cloud, which is super useful, but I can actually get the raw signal as well. There's so much testing going on in this world, or apparently not actual testing going on in this world, that people sort of just take, make assumptions and have opinions and stuff. But actually, with the Food Sense Generation 4, which I've been showing this afternoon, we are actually able to get the receipts, if I can call it that, by actually not only getting the number on our phone, but we also save the evidence of where that number came from actually up to the let's say up to the cloud as well. So I want to say, if you've got any questions regarding the Food Sense Generation 4, I'll try and put a link underneath this video so you can find it. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, thanks very much.